I got into cycling because of Carter. You know, living with him for 3 years, he'd always come home in his kit with his dirty bike and leaning against my furniture, and I would always be upset with him, and he kept begging me to ride with him on these team rides that happen every Friday. And finally one day I decided to humor him. I said, I'll do it once, get out of my system, and then he can shut up about it. I'll never have to do it again. And then ended up riding 200 and something miles that week and never really stopped.
Carter and I met probably the end of my freshman year at a mixer with Sweethearts and Lambda Chi. And we both realized that we were both in advertising, and then we took classes together. And ever since then, we just became friends, always hung out, and I got really close with his roommate Brooks, and we always did stuff together, all got along, and just got really close.
My goal this year is to really dedicate myself to make it to nationals and be competitive. I was training smarter. I really dedicated myself to be competitive at nationals, and that was my goal for the year. On March 22nd, it was the first ride of Voodoo. A local club was hosting at 5:30. It was an afternoon ride, or something I could do on a Tuesday because I had classes in the morning. And I was on my way to Mellow Johnny's, where I was going to meet the group to ride, and going down Guadalupe St. I was hit by a car. That was it's a split second. You're riding your bike and all of a sudden you see a car veering over without warning, and you panic, and what is there to do? And when you realize there's nothing to do, it's just a weird moment. You know, it's like 3 flashes. There's the, oh my gosh, I'm about to get hit by a car. There's the, I'm in the air and I see my bike shattered in front of me, and then there's the, I'm standing up in the middle of the road. What just happened? Gosh, that's a crazy day.
When I first found out that Carter got hit, I was actually in the shower. My phone started going off a lot and didn't really think a lot of it, but then when I got out I saw that there was a text message between Carter and Marisa Price, who's another one of our great friends.
I get a Snapchat from him on the hospital bed, dying, and I immediately freaked out, and I called him. I was making dinner at my apartment, and I immediately call him, and he was like, yeah, I got hit, but I think I'll be okay. And so Brooks rushed and picked me up, and we went over there, and it was obviously way worse than he expected or any of us expected, but yeah.
When I got up off the ground, first emotion or thought was confusion. Where am I? What just happened? Why am I standing up in the middle of the road? It's disbelief. Did I just get hit by a car? Did that really just happen? How could that have happened? There's no one. They came out of nowhere. It doesn't make sense. I was aware of all the vehicles. There's no vehicles nearby. She swerved over pretty substantially, I guess, and no blinker. And all of a sudden I was standing there in disbelief, what just happened? Utter shock. And then I tried to move, and I realized I can't move my arm. And I've separated my shoulder before, and that feeling of, am I actually injured, is just bruised. And the thought I was having after the crash, after I kind of realized I just got hit by a car, is oh my gosh, what if I'm injured? What if all of this training, all this dedication and effort that I put forward, that I've been dedicating almost my life, basically a full-time job to, what if I just hurt myself? What if I'm out of the picture? And that was pretty devastating.
I remember when the nurse came in and told us that he had broken his humerus in his shoulder. He didn't seem very shocked. I think while he initially wasn't expecting it to be bad, I think that he realized that it was possible that he broke some things.
When the doctor was explaining my injuries, I was under the influence of many pain meds, but from my understanding and further follow-up was it cracked the humerus head off of the humerus, and it cracked it down the middle, and there's several pieces missing. I asked him how many screws are in there. He's like, I don't know. My range of motion is weird. If I stretch it, it gets farther and farther for the most part. I'm lifting my arm right now. That's that's great, but my arm is tilted forward, so if I actually put it level, it stops right about there.
Carter's initial reaction to the wreck was very like, it's fine, like telling his dad he did not need to come down, I'll be fine, it's okay.
When Carter heard how long it was going to take for recovery, how long the doctors had projected recovery would take, I think he was pretty disheartened because he knew he couldn't get back on the bike
for the next like few weeks or months, and I don't really think that hit him until a few weeks later, as hard as it did. But right off the bat, he was happy-go-lucky, like, this is fine, I'm gonna spring back, and then it hit him that it was gonna take a lot longer than expected.
He did not take that part well. I mean, he took it well, attitude-wise, but you could tell it was gonna affect him pretty greatly.
I think I joked about certain things as a way of processing it, like, haha, there goes my collegiate career. But legitimately, a year and a half after the crash, I will hopefully be in my first job. I will have been graduated, so yeah, my collegiate career is over.
I could tell he hated being cooped up during the recovery process because he was used to biking every day and that's what he loved to do. So I'd always try to make sure like we'd go on walks and like go to different parks and just try to get out, because I could definitely tell he was becoming upset with the fact that he couldn't ride.
The mental battle was probably the most substantial obstacle I had to get over. First off, I didn't even realize how mentally draining it was. I was on drugs. I had to step away from my job for a while. I had to step away from the semester of school for a while. My friends, you're not really there when you're on the pain meds, and just you're stuck with this pain, and that pain's a reality. So you're trying to live life and smile and act normal while you're in pain. Gosh, I mean, it was a transitional period in my life. I was handling the stress of, all right, I've lost this outlet. I've lost my ability to race. I'm probably not going to race again anytime soon. There's certain things, it's question marks. I got into physical therapy probably about 3 months in, and really hit that hard. I was there 3 days a week, and then doing like 3 times a day stretches. On my lunch break I was doing stretches, in the gym after work I was doing stretches.
But he pushed through, and I know he got annoyed with doing that, but that's like all he could do.
You know, Carter's very dedicated and will do everything that he can to keep it up.
One day, went to a doctor and they're like, things are looking good. Like, what does that mean? Like, your bones are looking good. I'm like, so can I get on a bike? He's like, I don't see why not. I take it easy.
So I think when Carter realized that he was going to be able to start training over the summer, he hit it pretty hard. He went to spin classes in the morning. He would ride training rides in Dallas, go on a lot of group rides.
Going on my first group ride, I was like, holy crap, I'm back with people. But it was a realization that just because you're on the bike again doesn't mean that you're competitive. And that was frustrating to think, I don't have the flexibility to get on my mountain bike yet, to even like have the grip wide enough. I didn't have that flexibility. But not only that, like even if I could ride my mountain bike, I'm losing to people that I normally could be competitive again. I've lost so much, and that realization was terrible, but it was a motivating factor.
So he trained hard because he knew that if he had a chance to race mountain bike, he was going to go, all in. That kid never half-asses anything.
Being in Dallas over the summer, I was away from my doctor, and I called him. He's like, we'll take a look at the x-rays on this date, my only available date. And that was the week before the first mountain bike race. And I went in and got my x-rays. He's like, I think you can do it. It's like, I can do what? And he said, I think you can maybe race. And even though I was racing bikes, can I be competitive? All these questions were going through my head, and I just tried to avoid it until it was game day. And boom. Camp Eagle, first race, I was camping the night before and staring at the stars like, wow, I'm here. And that was a pretty incredible feeling.
When you know someone like Carter who's so dedicated to cycling and that's such a huge part of his life, it's always a good feeling to see them get back to it. in full capacity.
Leading up to conference championships, I had actually lost the jersey because I did not go to a race. It was like, man, that sucks. I had it for a while, but I also had like, dude, you made it. Like, you actually raced every race that you wanted to, and you've been successful. You got to be happy with what you got, and that was awesome. So I had that feeling, and that was cool to see. But I mean, I'm a bike racer. Like, of course I want to win. I want that jersey. And it's A&M. There's a little bit of rivalry there. So entering conference championships is double points, and he had the jersey, which is frustrating. But there's a chance. I shouldn't give up. And that night we had our end of banquet ceremony, and one of the conference directors walked up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, you're in the lead, right?" I'm like, "I thought I was." He's like, "No, like you're pretty far on the lead." And he told me that as long as I finish the race tomorrow, I've won the conference. And that was it was the point at which I could finally let go. Like, yeah, you did it. Not only are you back on the bike, but like, you won the conference. The guy that you looked up to 3 years ago with that green jersey is now you, and all that hard work paid off. Since then, it's been a chance for me to really like kind of recollect my life. There's been a mental or some kind of wall that I couldn't overcome and like be normal again. And that night's like, maybe I can. And since then, it's been a great journey of rebuilding finally.
I mean, I still get chills thinking about it. I can't even win a Cat 5 road race. Here this guy breaks his arm in his shoulder, and then just a few months later wins the conference championship in mountain biking.
Like, I feel like it seemed like it came so easy and naturally to him, when I know he had to work really hard to get back to that place. But that's Carter. He'll put his mind to anything and finish it and do it.